Hey guys, what's up? It's Lo, Beauty Demon, back with more internet bullshit, and we are talking about Gabbie Hanna again because she just is incessant and she cannot stop popping off. So before I get into this, everything I say is my opinions. These are not facts. This is all just my theory and my interpretation of the craziness I am seeing going on the internet, which is why I call this bullshit on the internet. I think this is becoming a series, a trend. So, Gabbie Hanna posted on her Patreon, I think she posted this yesterday. I'm concerned for the world. The fact that people can't figure out I'm trolling my TikToks is astounding. Like, I'm doing the same shit I did in Call Me Crazy and Shut Me Up, LMAO. I'm doing the same shit I did on Musical.ly, just in regular time. If there's one thing I know how to do, it's be viral. You think a girl who's been made fun of for her nose by the entire internet doesn't know what she's doing when she sings with her nose rubbing against a pop filter? Or when I stare dramatically into a mirror for a silent 5. Or when I say I'm gonna fuck both your parents and the one person you love, that one's still my favorite because of how many people got personally offended because they know I could, in fact, fuck both their parents and the one person they love. It feels so good to be in control, LMAO. Now, this really pissed me off because this just screams what Gabbie likes to throw around, and that is the term narcissistic abuser to me. Because in this, she's saying, there's two things in here that really, stood out to me right off the bat. Is in the beginning, she says she is astounded that people can't figure out that she's joking. But then the end, she says she likes being in control. And those are two narcissistic traits that really stuck out to me. So I decided to just do a quick little bit of research. And I just went over to Google because I feel like that's probably where Gabbie Hanna went. And I'm probably looking at the same articles that Gabbie looked at. So first, I just looked up narcissistic abuser, and it actually brought up an article about victims per se, but it had a few interesting things. I just wanted to read those out and kind of relate them to her activity recently and what other people have said about interactions with her recently and that whole Patreon thing I just read. So narcissistic, and I'm not saying that she has narcissistic personality disorder or anything like that. I'm just speculating that some of this stuff is kind of what Gabbie's doing right now, to be totally honest with you. So, narcissistic personality disorder is a complex mental health condition that typically involves low empathy. We've seen Gabbie doesn't have really empathy at all for the people she's interacting with. She hasn't cared about Oscar Wilde's mental health, Gabbie Hanna's, Hello Leash's, Rachel Oates, a lot of other people who are her fans. She has zero empathy for how they feel in this situation. And they're supporting her, but also a lot of these people deal with some of the stuff that she's attacking other people with. Grandiose or inflated sense of self. We all know Gabbie thinks really highly for herself, and an extreme need for admiration and attention. She's literally said this is all for attention. So boom, we already hit all across the check marks. That's the end of today's video, you guys. So don't forget to, I'm just kidding, I got more. So they do show patterns of manipulation, verbal and emotional abuse. They use tactics to confuse people. We are all extremely confused. So here's some things that some telltale signs to know if you've been a victim of narcissistic abuse. 1, they've started a smear campaign. Oh my God, she's been running rampant. That's what this has been for 2 weeks, is her doing small mini smear campaigns against each and every person. She tried to do a smear campaign against Oscar Wilde. It didn't work out. She's been trying to smear Trisha Paytas. People are not really on her side with that. She tried to smear Rachel Oates. She tried to smear Angelica Oles. The list goes on and on. People with narcissistic traits often need to maintain their image of perfection in order to keep earning admiration from others. In doing this, they try to make you look bad. Once you begin to point out problems or question their behavior, they might lash out, openly directing their anger towards you with insults or threats, or involving others in criticizing you. Gabbie includes all of her stands in openly criticizing people on trivial things that you really maybe shouldn't be criticizing people on. By telling your loved one stories that twist facts about your harmful or unstable behavior, the narcissist is trying to discredit you, which she has openly tried to discredit people like Oscar in twisting their text messages back and forth. And she has also tried to do that with Trisha. I have been trying to stay out of that a little bit because I know it's really been affecting Trisha hard. You feel like you've always done something wrong. Abusive. Now, obviously, Gabbie isn't a partner with these people, but, it kind of plays. Insisting they'd said something that you have no recollection of, which with Trisha, she did try to make her believe that a situation happened, and she was very adamant about it to the point where Trisha even second-guessed herself, and Trisha said that was, darn it, I've probably spent part of this video already misgendering Trisha. I apologize. Trisha did state that that was very confusing to them because they had no recollection of what Gabbie was talking about at all. So insisting they said something you have no recollection of and getting so upset you end up soothing them by apologizing and agreeing you were wrong. If you watch that podcast, it definitely seems like Trisha is trying to soothe Gabbie. Like, they're just like, you know what, I don't really know what she is talking about. Maybe she's right. Maybe I don't remember it. I'm just going to... in that she seemed kind of uncomfortable and she was just... I'm sorry, they seemed very uncomfortable and they were just trying to make sure the situation ended smoothly so that they could leave and it could be, all copacetic between the two of them. So, once again, when Trisha came out and they said, really, I really don't remember what she's talking about. This did not happen. Gabbie responded with anger and how dare you say that we're not friends or we were never friends. And this is very interesting because in this article it says, they respond with anger. How dare you doubt my loyalty after I show you again and again how much I love you. Basically like barrages of rage that can leave you feeling helpless and dependent. That kind of sounds like what Gabbie was doing to Trisha. You also have trouble setting boundaries, which is something that we did see between Trisha and Gabbie until Trisha really did set boundaries and they said, please do not be messaging me about Gabbie. Please don't tell me what's happening with Gabbie, because they knew for their own mental health, they needed to remove themselves from that situation. And when you are in the thralls of interacting with a narcissistic abuser, you have trouble setting those boundaries. So it was good that they were able to set those boundaries with Gabbie. So that brought me to what are actual attributes of narcissistic abusers themselves, because everything I've read and looked at in that article was how to identify if you were a victim of narcissistic abuse, which I'm going to assume that was probably the first article that Gabbie saw. The next article, now this was a blog that was written by a, see, I didn't screenshot the top of it, that's so stupid. But this article was written by somebody who I believe is a psychologist, maybe even a medical practitioner of another kind as well. So I will be linking both of these articles below so you can read them in their entirety, and this person seems to have even written a book. So it says, narcissists are masters of language who use words to deceive, coerce, seduce, and mislead. They have forced tongue of a viper and have no misgivings about when it comes to spouting poisonous abuse at their victim. Verbal trickery is their preferred method of manipulation, and they have a talent for saying the right things at the right time to confuse, belittle, and degrade a person. That is all Gabbie has been doing on the internet for the past 2 weeks. They devalue their victims, purposefully seeking to make them feel worthless so they may subjugate them to their will. So I think she's trying to get people to garner these public apologies that she can... I don't even know if Gabbie would accept any sort of public apologies from people. Like, I don't see that happening. Victims are left traumatized by bombardment and emotional pain that seems to have no end. Now, Oscar Wilde has been tweeting nonstop the past 2 days. He was definitely having some sort of really bad breakdown because of all of the attention, negative attention, that he's been getting from this whole Gabbie Hanna situation. And it was really heartbreaking because he seems like a really nice person who's gone through a lot and just recently gotten sober and is not necessarily rediscovering, but really fully enveloping himself in the passion of his music, and then he's just getting shit on for literally no reason. And they may become mentally crippled by the onslaught, not understanding what is happening or how to escape from that. We saw this both with Trisha. They said that they were going to be getting, I believe somebody said it was like cognitive guilt therapy. Somebody said that in my last comments. They said it was like CGT, and I didn't know what that was. So Trisha, they said that they were going to be getting help pretty quickly, and Oscar did say on his Twitter yesterday, or maybe even earlier today, that because of a breakdown that he had because of all of this, he had an appointment scheduled with a therapist. Like, that's 2 people that we know of that she has hurt, specifically with this narcissistic abuse. That's just what I'm seeing. If she's going to call it like that with everybody else, I'm going to call it like that with her. Here are some telltale signs of narcissistic abusers. Low-level stealth abuse. They often seem friendly at first, but they'll say things like, "Oh, you're really sensitive, aren't you?" Or, "No, you misunderstood what I was saying." I feel like we've seen that a lot. We see that in her Patreon post. That's what she says in the beginning of it. No. You guys misunderstood. It's a troll. It's a joke. I'm just doing this as joking. These are beginning the longer processes to wear victims down. And then there's the my special relationship myth, which I don't know if that really... that's more like a form of grooming, that might be something like that she's building in the parasocial relationship with her fans and her stans specifically. But I don't see this in terms of Trisha and all the other creators she's been attacking. But I definitely see that kind of stuff with people that follows her. Then I didn't mean it, I was only joking. I mean, that's how she just started that whole Patreon thing. I'm joking, I'm trolling, it's not real. Another way a narcissist will inflict their spitefulness onto their victims is to constantly dismiss insults or criticisms by claiming that they really didn't mean it. They full well know that their prey have been fully wounded by intentional comment, but made their excuses to cover up their malicious intent. They say they were only joking, but in reality, they were craftily going on the offensive to maneuver themselves into a dominant position. This sort of language further conditions the victim to accept the narcissist's behavior. It confuses them and makes them unsure as to whether or not they should be offended. Not knowing when to view a comment as an insult and when to take it as a joke simply hands power over to the narcissist to say what they like. That right there is pretty much sums up everything that's going on. Gabbie hurt a lot of people, seriously hurt a lot of people, and then it's like, it's just a joke, you guys. I can't believe you guys are so sensitive and don't understand that I've been joking this whole time. Then it goes on to say narcissists have a really good ability for targeting people's flaws and insecurities, bluntly questioning sort of things, using like the cover of like, we're being vulnerable together to kind of like build or like break down defenses. But really what they're doing is they're saving that ammunition for later on to use against you. Projection. Ooh, this was the big one. Well, this and the I'm joking thing. I think these are the 2 big things that really like focus in on. So projection. Undesirable, vile, and malicious thoughts and actions stemming from a narcissist aren't things that they wish to see in themselves. To overcome this, they are projected onto their victim as ways of shifting the problem onto somebody else. So all of these things that she says other people are doing to her, she's really just projecting all that out. I said that in my other video. She's just projecting all of this stuff. They unleash a barrage of words designed to convince the other person of their wrongdoing, to bamboozle them into believing they have done wrong even when they haven't. Yeah, I see that. They make accusations as your paranoid freak to mirror their own problems and transplant themselves into beliefs of their victims. So this isn't just to confuse the other person, but it's also to validate to themselves that they are the victim in this situation, not the other person. They repeat this again and again in such conviction that the other person can actually end up thinking that they embody the traits that they have been perpetrated for the wrongdoing. And then we come to also gaslighting, which Gabbie likes to throw gaslighting around a lot. So the more a narcissist confuses their victim, the easier it is to bend them to their will. They will constantly question their victim's memory, insist that events were different from what is being recalled. Once again, she did that to Trisha. They will withhold information or manipulate the truth to create doubt and confusion in the other person. The aim is to make the victim feel more dependent on them and therefore less likely to leave. And then singling out the victim to maintain an air of normality and to lay all the blame squarely on the feet of another person. They will insist that they never have issues with people outside of the relationship. I don't have problems with other people. I just have a problem with this person and this person and this person. Just these, 50 people right here, the rest of the population of the world, we don't have a problem. That's like kind of, I guess, where Gabbie's at right now. They claim you're the only person I have a problem with. You're the only person that misunderstands what I'm saying. And then silence, volume, and tone. Sometimes the most powerful use of language that a narcissist can employ is to pursue a silent approach. Gabbie usually freaks out like this and then disappears for maybe a month, maybe a couple weeks, maybe a couple months. I feel like that is her silent approach. It makes her look stronger, like maybe she's gone away and thought about things when we know she really hasn't. She's just thinking of ways to manipulate situations. So in the end, to me, I see Gabbie Hanna as the narcissistic abuser of the situation. Everything that she is calling other people out is really what she's putting out into the world. And I wholeheartedly believe that the 2 articles that I just quoted and read bits and pieces of to you are probably the exact same articles that Gabbie Hanna looked up to really validate what she's experiencing. But she lacks any complete self-awareness to see that all of those traits 100% relate to her completely. Like that is her to a T. Maybe not her to a T, like in terms of how she is every day IRL, but what we're seeing on the internet is pure and simple narcissistic personality behavior. So maybe this is what her 12-piece documentary is about. I don't know. I still don't really think I want to watch that, but who knows? Maybe I will. Maybe Gabbie Hanna will continue giving me enough views that I will actually subject myself to watching a 12-piece documentary about it. I don't know. She's just full of contradictions left and right, and it's driving me really crazy. And I'm just like, I don't even care about Gabbie Hanna, but she just is pushing my buttons a lot. So I'm just going to continue making videos about it because she's fucking annoying and I like calling out hypocrisy. Plain and simple. So if you liked today's video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Oh yeah, I do have a true crime video coming out later this week. I totally promise. I'm in the process of editing it, but I'm not really going to edit this video much, so it'll be able to just like go up quicker. So that'll be up soon. I promise. I promise. And don't forget, we're going to be doing a giveaway at 500 subscribers, so we'll get there soon. I will see you guys next time. Laters. Bye.